Welcome to Kicking It Local, the podcast all about the football community in South Australia. I'm your host, Johnny Kecko, and today I am joined by the 2022 Sergio Melta Medalist, and also he is a player at Campbelltown City and won many trophies there in his time. I'm joined by Alex Mullen. Mate, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Johnny. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure, mate, and there's a lot to get through because before planning, I thought it's going to be a good episode, but once I started planning the questions and going through your history, I was like, this is going to be a long and exciting episode because you've got so much to talk about, and not only your career, but also the family you come from. The Mullen family in South Australia is a well-known and well-respected family. So I want to go off into that area first, but before that, the Man Picnic is a little project you have on the side with a few mates. And in light of that, you brought some, for the first time ever, with drinking some Paralaf beer live on air to have that little bit of the Man Picnic experience here today in the Kicking It Local.
That's it, mate. I thought it's a Friday, so, happy Friday to you. I thought I'd bring in a few beers, so, yeah, cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers for that. There we go.
Good on
Kicking
you.
it all off with a beer in this episode. It's a unique concept, the Man Picnic. So we'll talk about that a bit later. But first of all, let's get straight into the story behind you playing football, because you come in the family from a lot of footballers. You got your young cousin coming through the ranks now as Isaac Mullen. Many other cousins, including Daniel Mullen, who played for Adelaide United and a few other A-League teams. Your brother Matt, who's also in the local leagues. And also your uncle, Joe Mullen, who a lot of people know for his time at Adelaide City playing back in the day, and his a few coaching jobs, and also your coach at some point as well. What was it like growing up in a family with so many footballers, and it seems like you grew up around football most of your life?
Yeah, look, it was great. I mean, yeah, like you said, football's always really been a huge part of us, of our family, to be honest. And really, it probably started with my nana and my granddad coming over from England when they did. They came over from Middlesbrough, came to Australia. Literally just nana and granddad and four boys. Yep. So the four boys being my dad, Peter, Joe, which most people know through the football community, and Phil and Uncle Tim as well. But I think when they came to Australia, I think what football did for them is it actually gave them, a sense of community or belonging. Yeah. I think, and I think Grandad just, as you do as an Englishman, loved his football, and got his boys playing as much football as they could. So they made friends, and over the years, Uncle Joe did really well. In fact, they all did quite well at least at the local level. My dad had two boys and a girl. My brother being the eldest and me. Uncle Joe had two boys and a girl too, Daniel and Michael, and a girl. And look, in the backyard, just us four boys just played and played and played. It's just what we did most days. We lived around the corner from each other, so after school or mostly on the weekends, we'd spend so many hours and hours playing in the backyard against each other, trying to outdo each other. So yeah, soccer's just always been there, always something that we loved, always spurred us on to be better, not only in soccer, but just as people as well, I think.
Who was the better footballer when you were growing up?
Out of us four boys?
Yeah, out of the boys.
Yeah, a good question, actually. It was actually Michael and my brother, Matty.
Yeah.
Yeah, which people find that surprising, but firstly, my brother, he was, as a junior, I think he hit puberty at like 11 or 12 or something. So people used to call him like a man child. So he was just a big, strong unit, really successful. In his junior days, played for the Joeys, under 17 Joeys, and did really well. Had a few trials overseas and things. So he was looking like he was going to do really, really big things. And he still did do big things, especially at the local level. And then Michael was the other one. He just wouldn't stop scoring as a kid. Scored so many goals. And then there was me and Daniel, and we were just, I don't know, we just didn't hit puberty till like 16, 17. I remember it. There's a photo of my cousin Daniel playing against my brother, and one looked like a man and one looked like a little boy, So yeah.
And they're similar ages, aren't they?
Yep. So they're like 6 months apart, those
Yeah.
two. And the funny thing is, Daniel's just so much bigger and taller now than Maddie. But yeah, just the way people grow up differently. But that's the thing. We always just had each other.
Yeah.
And whoever was good at the time, the other ones were just trying to get as good as them.
Do you reckon that having that at home is what kind of helped you guys in your footballing career and helping you to strive to get something better? And the three of you obviously got A-League experience, some more than others, but you all managed to get to that level in some capacity. Do you reckon having that backbone of the family and playing together at home and competing almost with each other, do you reckon that helped you guys up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah.
We always just trying to improve, mostly because we just love doing it. It was just fun. We're never like a family, inside playing PlayStation or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're always out in the backyard, under the veranda, or at Mobby Vista Soccer Club. And it probably helped as well because Uncle Joe was still, amongst the game, coaching at Croydon probably back then. So we're always just kind of just spurring each other on as much as we can, and just probably just naturally develop, just trying to outdo each other.
Yeah. So, when you have boys playing together and becoming competitive at that age from teenagers, there would have been some interesting things that would have happened. Any funny moments or any fights or anything happen?
Look, how long we got here? Mate, heaps, so many. There was a period there where like Maddie and Daniel, because they were so much better than me and Michael, we were a little bit younger.
Yeah.
They would just be on teams, play like little 2v2s in the backyard, and they would just keep the ball off us forever. To the point where me and Michael used to, really get into, get angry with each other because we weren't, tackling or playing our part. So plenty of fights. Me and Michael a lot of tears. But even just me and Maddie, I remember one. Actually, it's quite. I remember one time we were playing soccer. For whatever reason, I was annoying Maddie. I remember he pushed me over, and as he pushed me over, he like kicked me. But he kicked me with like the toe part of his shoe. Oh. And he ended up fracturing my coccyx bone. I couldn't play soccer for 3 months.
Oh no!
Yeah.
How old were you back then?
Oh man, probably like 11, 12. Yeah. So I had to sit on like a little donut thing. I couldn't sleep, and it was a terrible time.
Oh no!
But it was all out of this competitive kind of like spirit, I was just trying to keep up with him, and he was probably just, he's got frustrated, just beat me up as he used to.
How did he feel after that happened? Did he?
Oh,
you regret it?
Straight away, yeah. That's the big thing, like in the backyard. As I'm sure most people who plays a youngster, you don't want to hit the flowers or the plants or the fence, or you don't want to hurt your brother too much.
No, I broke the centre line in front of my house once, kicking the ball against the wall, and I hit the centre line, ripped it off the wall. So my dad wasn't happy with that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But I know what it's like, and with brothers, you always that competitiveness, the fighting, and does that still happen today? That little bit of brotherly love, or
not so much really, not so much. Yeah.
Obviously, a bit older now.
A bit older, yeah. Like Maddie's got 2 girls now, and I'm getting married in a couple of about a month and a bit now. So when we see each other, it's just best friends, kind of, as it has been for a long time now.
No, that's good, because it's those memories are great, and then also, if you didn't have that, do you think you would have gotten as far as where you are now in football, or would it be a different path for you if you didn't have that backbone of the family and playing with your cousins?
Yeah, I think so. I think the family, what you mentioned there, is a big one. Like, soccer is just a vehicle to really try hard at something, I think. And just the family support that we had, no matter what we were going to do, if we loved it, they were going to support us in it. And it just happened to be football, and, that we were supported, had each other to spur each other on. And it's probably what, it made some of us, quite successful. So,
Well, now let's go on to where you went after that. You started off playing with your family, and now your career you played at Sassy, also Para Hills as well. Some of your junior years.
Yeah.
What was that like starting to play at those type of clubs, and also the Sassy being the South Australian Institute?
Yeah, the institute was fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I was probably like 14, 15 probably at that age. With the late Martin Crook. I don't know if you know that name, but a really respected coach. Really, really good for juniors in South Australia. That was my kind of first taste of, okay, like this is kind of like an elite group here.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, all right, okay, like if I really want to be good, like I really need to switch on now. I remember playing with players, sorry, like Joey Costa was really, really good, you know, like exceptional back then. Joel Miller, another name, was a fantastic player. Costa Mantis. I could go on and on and on. Shaheen Nujam, who still plays. Many good players. But yeah, that was the time where I thought, wow, this is getting serious now. And I'm so happy to be here, you know. So the institute was great, and to be honest, you know, when it kind of packed up a little bit, it was disappointing because I felt like it was just a good kind of 1 to 2 years that junior players really understood, like, wow, this is what it means to be a footballer if you want to be one. Yeah, at least it was that to me anyway.
So when they did get up, they did scrap it though. What do you think that's kind of changed what the future of football is like?
Yeah, it's hard to say, mate. I'm not too sure. Like obviously they have different pathways now.
Yeah.
With the junior setup.
Yeah.
Whether that's better or not, I'm not too sure because I can't compare it to what I had.
Yeah.
All I know is I just had that kind of like light bulb moment where it wasn't just I love this game. It was like I love this game now, but also if I want to continue it and be a professional, if I want to do the best I can, I need to be serious now. And that gave me the wake up call. So I mean, if the current systems are doing that, then you know, great. But yeah, just for me, the institute was fantastic.
Then after that, you got some other opportunities, and you trialled with Adelaide United, the youth team.
Yeah, the youth team. Yeah.
So what was that like? Because at the time, I remember you saying off air, your Uncle Joe was the coach at the time.
Yep, Uncle Joe was the coach of the youth team back then. Yep.
So what was that like with trying to go and trial for that team, knowing your uncle was the coach of the team?
It's something that the family's always dealt, you know, really well with, and you know, I think back now as an older person, like older player, I think, you know, Uncle Joe's got a lot of. You should really be commended on how you handle those moments.
Yeah.
It was a pretty significant period for me actually. I tried with Adelaide United Youth. My Uncle Joe was the coach, and this is where it gets a bit tricky because my brother, he was the captain. He was the captain of the team.
Yeah.
And my cousin Daniel was also on the team as well. So that you got 3 in the family, and then there's me as a 16-year-old trying to get in there as well. It would have been really difficult to manage, you know. I didn't end up making it, so I remember the day really well. I think I made the last 22, and I think he picked like 20 or something.
Yeah.
And you know, it was kind of like, 50-50. Am I going to get in here? But I remember because again, they lived a street over from us. He walked over my house, brought me in the front room, and just sat me down and just said, "Yeah, look, not this year, mate." So, but at the time I was devastated, right? But now I think back and I commend him for it. You know, like it would have been a really difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
And he could have taken the easy option, like, just get him in there. You know, keep everything happy.
He may not have been ready for it, maybe.
And that's the other thing. I couldn't. I probably wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know, so. It was an interesting kind of period.
Did you find out eventually what the reason was behind you not getting selected, or you still?
It probably was a bit of, you know, I wouldn't say it was in regards to being a Mullen or anything, or that decision, but I knew that was, you know, stirring in his head for sure. But it probably was just the case of, you know, just, you know, wasn't up to it. and that, you know, as an uncle, I can imagine it would have been a very hard conversation to have with your nephew.
Yeah, I can imagine it would have been for him. Have you ever spoken about it since then, or because since then you have had him as a coach once again?
I have, yeah. Been
So,
fortunate to be coached by him. We actually haven't, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think, actually. Yeah, no, I haven't. But actually, obviously, it was a pivotal moment in my soccer career because it, you know, sparked me to look elsewhere and think outside the box a little bit.
so after that, you ended up going overseas for another opportunity. I think was it in the college system over there that you ended up getting an opportunity?
Yeah, it was in America. I headed over to North Carolina. After that day, it was a Sunday. I remember the next day I went to school, and my mate he migrated from America, from Michigan, and he could tell I was gutted. Like he just knew, and he goes, "Why don't you go try over in America in the college system?" I was like, "America? What the?" Like back then it wasn't a nothing soccer, you know. So I was like, "What the? You know, why not? Like I'm either going to go back to local league or I'm going to try something else." And he helped me like do all the application and stuff, and I ended up going to North Carolina to a university called University of Mars Hill in North Carolina.
What was that like, to the experience from being a youngster, late teens, and going over to the US?
Yeah, very different. I think it was 4 flights I had to catch. I was just turned 18.
Jeez.
I was going over to something I didn't even know what was on the other side, really. My parents couldn't believe it. I had to pay my own way. You know, if you want to do this, you have to, you know, pay your own way, which I did. And to be honest, as soon as I met the coach, met the players, I just settled right in, and I loved it. It was really, really good.
Yeah, how'd you find it? Trying to settle once you did settle in. How'd you find the experience of playing over there?
Yeah, great. Yeah, like I said, different. A lot of reliance on athleticism.
Yeah.
We used to be in the gym like four times a week, which I'd never been in the gym, you know, back here. But it was good for me. It was, you know, training every single day, great facilities, and then something that my dad was really happy about. I was studying at the same time, so I was kind of getting the best of both worlds, but also enjoying, you know, like being a college athlete and meeting friends and enjoying some parties here and there. So, it was really, really good experience.
What did you end up studying while you were there? Was it?
Yeah, I studied Bachelor of Science, and they do it a bit differently. So it's Bachelor of Science, and I specialise in athletic training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because if you don't, do you have to study to be able to go play your games? Like, if you don't keep up to date with all your study, are you allowed to play on the weekends still? Because I heard some schools make sure you're keeping up to date with your studying as well. Was that the case there, yours?
Yeah, there's a big emphasis on grade point average, or GPA they call it, grade point average. And it's out of 4. I think the Australian system's out of 7 or 8 or something like that. But theirs is out of 4. And if you don't hold a 2.2 GPA, you're ineligible to play. So we had guys from like Colombia, Brazil, Scotland, England, you know, all over the world, right? And they're just here to play soccer. Yeah. So it was a constant struggle to get these guys like above a 2.1 or whatever it was, just to be able to play. Yeah. So we had like boys doing their homework, we were in the study hall together trying to get their GPAs up, just so we could get the best team out there on the weekend. You know? Yeah. So there's a lot great experience. Yeah, really good. When when you bring it up, it's a great time. So did you ever help others? Did you personally help others to do their homework to get them to play? Yeah. We had a boy from Zimbabwe. His English wasn't too hot, so I used to help him read over his his essays or whatever a little bit. But it was the beauty of it. Like we all just wanted to play football. Yeah. You know, and we were a team. And we ended up winning the conference the first year I was there, which was good, and made the nationals. And it comes back to those study hall sessions. We got boys above that GPA, and they were able to play. So that was really good. So the when you finished up there, did you have anything lined up afterwards, or what was the next step for you after finishing up at college? Yeah, I came back to Adelaide I had a few like little kind of invites to go to these, like over there they do these things called combines.
Yep.
Well, they have a draft, and if you don't make the draft, you can go like a second chance is getting invited to these combine things. They're just essentially just big trials. But I was kind of well and truly done with America. I wanted to come home. I felt like I had improved, missed my family quite a bit as well. So I was ready to come home to Adelaide and just, play locally, and I felt like had improved.
Yeah.
And I went back to Para Hills. Yeah.
Well, the Para Hills, I think we mentioned it earlier, where your brother played there. Your uncle played a couple of years before moving to Adelaide City. That connection at Para Hills, was it the big connection there for the club with your family?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I don't think purposefully. I think Uncle Joe played there for 1 or 2 years before or after. I'm not too sure. I think before he went to the NSL in Adelaide City. But for me, I'm not sure. I think my dad. I think we grew up in Golden Grove, Windvale. I think it was the option of Mowbray Jets or Para Hills, and I think Dad knew someone like a coach at Para Hills, Ian Smith, I think, and he said, just go play for Para Hills.
What was the experience like playing at that club?
Yeah, great, really good. Learned some really good just fundamental principles of just trying your hardest and never giving up. Like that kind of, I don't know, British kind of attitude where you just whatever happens, I'm just going to give it a good hard crack. Yeah,
because there is a few clubs that has got that, the English background. The Mowbray Jets, as you mentioned, was one, Para Hills. So is that why your family probably lent more towards it? Yeah,
possibly, yeah. But, Mowbray Jets as well, were kind of British as well. But I just followed my brothers and my brother and my cousins, what they were doing, and just didn't look back really. Loved the club, really, really good, especially at junior level.
Yeah, but then once you after that, a few years later, you ended up getting an opportunity to go to the A-League.
Yeah.
Sydney FC is where that opportunity came for you. Unfortunately, it was short-lived. There's only a year that you were there.
Yeah.
But what was that experience like, being able to trial at an A-League club? At the time, they were coached by Graham Arnold.
That's right. Yeah. It was great. It was a good experience. I at the time at Para Hills, I'd come back from America. Barney Smith, who we were talking about before, his father got an opportunity for me. Spoke to Graham Arnold for me, and I just had a call, an invite to go for a week's trial. Went over there, trained. He wasn't sure, and then I came back and he wanted me for another week, trained again, and I think in that second week, for whatever reason, kind of turned his head a bit, and he committed to me. It was a mature age rookie contract, so I was 24 at the time. I was a bit older, and signed me. And it was I had a year there, which was full of ups and downs, but again, great experience and something that I look back at and was happy I was a part of it.
Well, you had trials, obviously. You would have had trials in your time here in Adelaide. You went overseas for a bit, and then you got an A-League trial. What was the difference going to a club like that? Obviously, there would have been a little bit more pressure, I'm assuming, seeing it as a professional club. But how did you find it?
Yeah, look, it was definitely a level above for sure. Just in regards to how fit they were. And I think that's the hardest thing for going from the NPL to the next level, is that kind of just sharpness and being fit. And you only get that through consistent training. That's what I found the biggest jump. And that's why I thought the second week I was a bit more attuned to it. But when you're in the change room, you look around the change room, you've got like the likes of, like Alex Brosk and, Milos Ninkovic, Mikel Tavares, Dimitrijevic, these players that have played some at World Cups, and there's me from Golden Grove, Para Hills. Like for me, it was a little bit like, wow, okay, this is, I'm here,
Yeah.
So that made it, quite, not nerve-wracking, but, like, okay, I need to perform here, if I want to stay here. So, yeah, great experience. And, look, all good things come to an end. So it just didn't eventuate in the end, but still, again, loved it.
Yeah, you had only a couple of games while you were there. I think a couple were in the Asian Cup from memory, and also one in the A-League only. But that one game playing the A-League, ironically, it was against Adelaide United. What was that experience playing against your home club? That also your brother, your cousin and your brother played a little bit at as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Us, Siri. Yeah, we played at Allianz in Sydney. Yeah, it was good. Loved it. I think we lost 3-1 or 2-0. I can't remember exactly, but just to make my debut, just to tick that off and just have the knowledge that I did play, a professional A-League game. It's something I'm proud of. Yeah.
How'd you find it? Was it at the level that you think you could perform at for more games, or was that higher than you thought it would have been?
I definitely felt like I was capable to be on that pitch for sure, but it's definitely like a level above, the NPL, just in terms of, again, just the fitness levels and sharpness. As a midfielder, probably in the NPL, you're running, 10, 11, maybe 12 Ks, but in that kind of environment, it's probably a bit more, and it's just so much sharper, and you just need to be more attuned to that kind of fitness kind of levels. But again, that comes with time and experience and consistent games played. So yeah, it was a good experience, but one that came to an end, but it's okay.
But if you were to go back and do that, had the opportunity to do it again, would there be anything you'd do differently with that time?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, 100%. I think going now, I was very timid, and if I had my time again, I wouldn't just wait and hope that get selected. I'd be knocking on the manager's door a bit more and saying what do I need to do? Why aren't you playing me? Because there were periods where I felt like I deserved to play. So yeah, I think just being a bit more ballsy and being like, okay, I'm here. I know I've got a year contract. I want to play. What's the reasons why? Yeah. But I think again, like just looking around the room, in many ways, I thought, geez, how can I compete with these guys? But that comes with age and experience. You look back and think, wow, I did have it in me. I should have just been a bit more bolder with knocking on his door and saying, come on, like, I'm here, I want to play, I want another contract,
Yeah, and being coach under Graham Arnold, what was that like, that experience? And now he's obviously the Australia coach for the Socceroos. What was it like having him there? It was only 7 years ago that you played there.
Yeah, Arnie was great. He was really really tough and firm with his players and his training sessions. But he was very personable and always would put your arm around you and say, hey, how's things going? Are you okay? Which is very different to what people perceive him from through his interviews and things. People think he's quite arrogant and boldly spoken but behind closed doors he's definitely like a manager or a coach that really cares about each one of his players. So, and me included, a player that wasn't really playing that much. So it speaks volumes of him.
What was it like being in the change rooms? Because only recently, only in a few weeks now, we're getting an insight to what it's like in the A-League change room with A-League's All Access, a new documentary series that's available now. And I'm enjoying watching this. You're seeing players like Nani and also Charlie Austin and all that. We're getting to see an insight of what it's like in the change rooms, and the Brisbane Roar one was unreal because you're seeing them going off at each other, getting angry at halftime, and after the game hugging each other, even though they lost the game 2-0. Yeah. But it just shows what it's like. But we never had that back then. What was the insight to that game that you were a part of, and any other time during the change room? What was it like back then in the change room at Sydney FC?
Yeah, similar, very similar to those docos. But also no real different to the NPL. Some NPL change rooms are like this as well. At the end of the day, we're all players and we want to win, and sometimes emotions get the better of us, and we people throwing boots or drink bottles around or getting into arguments. But I guess like going back to the Sydney change room, it was just just everything obviously was more professional. You had your own station, you had everything laid out for you. You had, you know, not just one or two coaches, you had, you know, 4 or 5 masseuses, you had all of that stuff. So it was more professional, but that kind of hunger to win shines through, I think, at all levels, I think. Yeah.
When unfortunately that year came to an end, what was it like for you? Was there ever talks about another season or another option or anything like that, or any other clubs pop up?
Yeah, I came back to Adelaide and was on trial with Adelaide United for 3 or 4 weeks, I think, and it was going really well, enjoying it. I went to Port Pirie. I remember the trip to Port Pirie, and on the way home from Port Pirie, it was looking likely that, you know, they wanted to commit to me. And I remember going home and telling Dad, and he was really pleased. And then they, you know, just brought me in and said they'd spent another player that they've signed from Melbourne, Jesse Macaronis, who was, I think he was like in the Oileroos at the time, same position. So they went with him, and yeah, that was just it, really. And then all of a sudden, all the A-League teams kind of had their squads put together. So I was back playing for Para Hills after that.
If you had known a little bit sooner about their decision, do you reckon it would have changed things for you? You would have been able to find another club? Or
look, yeah, maybe.
It's all in hindsight now. Obviously.
Yeah. Look, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I think, like you said, hindsight is, you know, 2020. Like, you can make the best decisions after.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change a thing. You know, like, you know, all these little lessons and all these kind of experiences make you who you are today. You know, so I don't think I would ever look back and change a thing, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's a good way of putting it, because if it wasn't for those things, you wouldn't be the strong player that you are now, potentially, or you wouldn't do things the way you do it now either.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
When going back to Para Hills now, what was it like going back to that club where you played a little bit prior to as well? Was it and also coming back off an A-League season, albeit just the one game. But what was that like, getting back to that local level again and playing in the league?
It was great. For me, it was just a privilege to play. I hadn't played for so long. I was playing, you know, in and out of the youth team at Sydney. So just to come back and know that I have regular games ahead of me. That was the year also that my brother played at Para Hills. Alex Sanarski, another good friend, played. Shane Tobias. You know, a couple of us, you know, really close friends played together, and we actually did quite well that year. I think we finished second. But for me, it was just really, you know, the thought of playing regularly that I just loved. So yeah, nothing really changes when you really enjoy the game. Yeah.
Who was the coach at that time at Para Hills?
Who was the coach back then? Jeez, I think it was Simon Canzaro. I think. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies. Simon and Barney were before Sydney. Sorry, it was Daryl Avery. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that name.
Yeah, no,
but he came over from England.
Yeah.
One of the better coaches I've had over my career, for sure.
What made him different to all the other coaches?
Well, he was young. He was a lot younger. I think he was like 30, in his late 30s when he was coaching. But just really intelligent with some of the things he did. Really passionate, and spoke to you more of like a mate, a big, strong kind of like mateship in that group. Really good coach, Darryl Avery.
And after this Para Hills stint that you had there, you and your brother ended up moving to Campbelltown City. So that move there was a significant one, because it's 2 Mullens moving to a team that's coached by Mullen, Joe Mullen. What was that like to be signed by your uncle?
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of like full circle, really, what we were talking about before. Great. I think I knew then, like I was 20, I think 25 or 26 then. I think I knew that I needed to make a change in terms of if I wanted to win things and win trophies. Uncle Joe just called me and just said, look, we'd love to have you at the club. I want you to think about it. We want Maddie to come over as well. No pressure, have a think about it. And then it was a conversation, I think, with Ian Fife that I had over the phone, who was the captain at the time, that I thought, and he kind of like just convinced me that, look, at the end of the day, like, it's not really as much where you play. Like, you look back at your career and you think, did I win things? Did I enjoy it? And, you know, the people around me, were they good people? So, he was the one that probably convinced me to go across, and probably the best decision I've made in my career, really, going to Campbelltown.
Having your uncle there, did that make it easier or a little bit harder? Because a lot of people, when they see players that play at a club where their uncle or their father most likely are coaching there seems to be that little bit of people instantly think there's a bit of what do you call it, the favoritism. Favoritism. But did that kind of turn you off it, or was it an easy decision because you knew what your uncle was like?
It was an easy decision. That, for me, it never came to that at all. Like that's where, like, I think about Uncle Joe. He just has that ability to, you know, I'm his nephew, and off the pitch we're, you know, very, very, very close, and, you know, with our relationships, all of us. But when it's football, he just has this ability to not favour you at all, but also not be on your back either. Yeah. Like, it's just that he just treats you like just another player. And I think that's one of his, you know, really big skills as a coach, just that man management skill. Under
him, you managed to get into the National Premier League, the national competition, the national series. Yeah. I think you won it that year as well.
2018, yeah.
So what was that like to be a part of that national competition, and then which unfortunately is not around at the moment? Hopefully it does get back in. I know a lot of players wanted to come back, but what was it like to be a part of that and then be able to take it out as the national champions?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was great. That 2018 team at Campbelltown was just fantastic. Really, really good people, good players, and just a great team led by a good coach. That national tournament is when we realised, wow, this team's special, because, you know, we're playing the champions of all these other, you know, so-called bigger federations like your Victoria and your Sydney, and we're beating them like quite comfortably as well. I think we played Lions in the final at Campbelltown as well. Had a good, good crowd down there, and it was just great. Kind of just ticked off a really successful year that year.
Being able to travel for like a proper, at that time 2018, we did have the FFA Cup back then as well, but being able to go and travel against other NPL teams for a competition like that, what was it like with the team being able to travel and play these type of...
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, it was so fun. Because, you know, we're not professionals, you know, so it was just a privilege, to work all week, and then we knew we had this game on the weekend playing against the champion of another federation. And if we won, to be honest, if we lost as well, but if we won, we'd go out and have a night out there, you know, and all just be together. And these are the memories, like, as in a team, that you remember. You know, it's football and it's serious, you know, on the day, but at the end of the day, like, after it, you know, you go out and enjoy yourselves, you know, as a team, as friends.
What was some of your favourite moments from that competition?
On
or off the field?
Yeah, I think winning it back at home was probably the best moment, because you're actually a champion, I guess. But I think we went to Canberra and played against the Croatian Canberra. I can't even remember the team, Canberra something, but we beat them 3-1, and I just remember the night out after. It was just brilliant. It was brilliant. All like 20 of us in this, you know, dingy nightclub in Canberra, all just, you know, loving each other and just having a good time, and then having to rock up the next morning on the bus at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So those types of memories is just the best.
You had a good run at Campbelltown for a while there. You were champions in the local champions in 2018, 19 and 20, so 3 years in a row. What was that like to be a part of that club? Because you say that first year you loved it and it was a good club to be around, and a great team you had at the time. But to continue that success, what was that like to be a part of a team that's continually successful?
Yeah, great. Really good. The thing, that 2018 team it was my first year, so like I wasn't really I felt like I just had my blinkers on. I just wanted to do well and, you know, earn my position and win. But I think over the consecutive years, the 2019, that 2020, you start to really form some really deep relationships with committee members and volunteers and juniors and that type of thing. So I think in the 2019 and 2020 season, they were just as special, if not more special, because you're celebrating with, like your chicks or your, Donnelly and Bruno, the chairman, or your Albies, or your Julies, like all these volunteers, people on the committee that, love the club more than you, they've been there forever. So to have that success over 18, 19, 20 was great. And a lot of the playing group were the same as well. So it's really special. I've got this actually. I've got a photo in my study at home of the 2018 team, and it shows every single. It's like a mugshot of each player and coach, and a big picture of us. With all medals around our necks and stuff. And I still look at it today, like most days. I just think, wow, like what a great year that was, And to carry on that success over the consecutive years and do the 3P was, unreal.
Who were some of the favourite players to play alongside during that time there? And eventually you end up having your cousin Daniel join you as well at the club.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Who was your favourite player to play with during that time?
Yeah, hard to narrow it down to one. All of them were great, mate. All of them were fantastic. But I've got a really strong bond with Adam Piscaneri, other midfielder, central midfielder. We just seem to get each other, I think. We're quite different players. Technically, he's probably one of the best players I've ever seen, But I probably do, a bit more of like the leg work or whatever. But what we do is we just have a kind of like a sense of, how each other are feeling. If one's tired, then the other one will step in. Been a real joy to play with him, to be honest. Yeah. So him, and then I can't go past Yohi, our Japanese winger. Just fantastic. Just a great person as well. I've had a few good memories with Yohi, but there's been certain games where he's just absolutely just taken the game by storm, just done his own thing and won us games. So probably those two.
Well, sadly, that brings us to the end of part one of my chat with Alex Mullen, and what a chat it's been so far. Some incredible stories, with a whole lot more to come in part two. And here's a quick sneak peek.
Josh Murray had a real stellar season. So it was a great night. To have my dad there to see that was probably more important to me than anything. He's just one of many, There's Joe Janko as well. Like, he's another one. Like, just, I was speaking to him on the night, and he was mentioning that he's got photos of like my dad and my uncles. And
we couldn't talk about the Man People Picnic without the guest of honour you had on for a bit as well. Matt Mays is from Football South Australia. He's a media manager there.
Yes.
But he did a really good job of getting you guys a great beer called the Lout.
The Lout, yep. He somehow managed to get these Lout beers over from England. Like, they don't even sell them in Australia. Like, he flew them over, and he brought like 6 of those beers along. So we tried that, and he put a video together of the Lout and our Man Picnic. And Peter Crouch ended up putting it on his Twitter. Yeah. So we were like, what's going on? Like, we're just a couple of mates from Adelaide, like drinking beers in the park, and Peter Crouch is retweeting us or whatever he's doing.
Make sure you keep an eye out for part two of my chat with Alex Mullen as we talk about the night he won the Sergio Melta medal and also the Man Picnic. That was part one with Alex Mullen. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow Kicking It Local SA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon!